Hi, I'm Kenneth Wajda. I'm a professional photographer here in Colorado. Welcome to another one of my photography talks. So today I want to talk about the Jeffcoat Studio Museum. This is their business card. So I was passing from Washington, D.C. back to Colorado, and I stopped in a town called Abilene, Kansas. Did you know that's Eisenhower's birthplace? And I thought that would be a good place to get some gas in my car and to get a bite to eat. I saw a sign that there's some antique shops in town, so I went to those. And next to one of those was this photo studio. So the Jeffcoat Photo Museum is an actual photo studio that had been in use since the early 1900s, I think it was. And I have a photo of it that I'll put in the links below. I haven't even processed it yet, but I will. And I have an amazing display. The front area is like a camera store, the way it was turned into a camera store later in the history of the shop and the studio. And then the back, they still have the studio set up, and they still have the dark room set up. And you can walk around and tour it, and you can read about lots of information about the different cameras. They have a large, I think it's like an 8x10 studio camera in the back, as I remember. But what a treat that was. You know, to get off of an exit of the Interstate 70, going through Kansas, figuring it's a place to go get a bite to eat, and to find a photo museum, that's something that's not advertised on billboards. And I think it's a real labor of love. The folks who do it, the woman who was manning the shop was saying that, you know, it's one of those places that they just want to preserve. And I don't know how many of those things are out there like that. Do you know of any other photo museums like that, or other photo studios that became, you know, a showpiece? The darkroom was left in the same condition that it was used last, and then they just kind of put up glass windows around it, and that's it. And to see the way the studio was set up, and this was a place, I wonder if Eisenhower was photographed there, and I asked, and they said he was. And that's the kind of a museum that, for me, we're walking in the steps of history, in a sense. And that's what photography is for. Photography is to document, and I was just very, very intrigued by it, and I had never heard of it, and this is a recommendation. If you're in the Abilene area, go see Eisenhower's birthplace, but certainly next to the little antique shop, there's this great little photo museum, and it's the kind of thing that needs visitors, and they certainly had some in their guest book, but I'm sure they could use some more. And if you're passing that way and you didn't know about it, you wouldn't even know it, you missed it. It's the kind of place, if you're crossing the country, heading out on 70, that's the place to go. I recommend it. All right, that's today's photography talk. If you're enjoying it, hit the subscribe button. If you can support, hit the Patreon. I'll put a link in the show notes below if I get a photograph. I think there's a photograph in one of the rolls that I shot while I was out there. Maybe the Rolleiflex.